Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are diving into something really fascinating. We're going to uncover the truth behind literally one of the most feared and honestly misunderstood figures in all of mythology, Shani Dev. Our goal here is to transform that deep-seated cultural fear we all kind of grew up with into a really profound understanding. And we'll do this by looking at the incredible stories and ancient texts that reveal who he actually is. So, let's just dive right in and address the elephant in the room. The immense cultural anxiety and, well, terror that surrounds Shani Dev. Think about astrological beliefs. Saturday, the day of Saturn, is almost universally viewed with this sense of dread, right? People actively avoid his gaze, they do countless rituals out of sheer panic, and honestly, just his name alone can strike fear into the hearts of millions. But why? Why does the whole world seem to tremble? Well, it really comes down to two highly dreaded astrological phases that we absolutely need to unpack. You've probably heard of them. Those phases are Sadasati, which is a 7.5-year period, and Daya, lasting 2.5 years. Now, we really need to redefine these dreaded periods. Most people view them as these arbitrary curses that are just out to ruin lives. But the ancient sources tell a completely different story. These aren't malicious punishments at all. Actually, think of them more like necessary cosmic audits of our past actions. Shani Dev's gravitational pull is essentially said to bring all our karma up to the surface. It forces us to face the delays, the struggles, and those really hard truths, all to build our wisdom and resilience.
Moving on to Section 1, Vakra Drishti, the origin of the myth.
To really understand this fearsome reputation, we have to go right back to the beginning, to his birth. So, Shani Dev's mother, Devi Sanya, simply could not bear the intense heat of her husband, the sun god Surya Dev. So what does she do? She creates a clone from her own shadow, Devi Chhaya, and she leaves. Now, while Chhaya was pregnant with Shani, she performed this incredibly fierce penance right under the scorching sun. Because of this, Shani was born with a very dark, charcoal complexion. And when Surya Dev saw his son, he actually refused to accept him, completely doubting his paternity. That initial rejection of his dark-complexioned son sparked a deep rift, for sure. But far more importantly, it sparked Shani's lifelong pursuit of absolute, unflinching justice.
So, how exactly did his gaze become a curse? Well, one day, Shani Dev was sitting there, deeply engrossed in meditation, just completely devoted to Lord Krishna. His wife, Devi Chitra Raf, approached him, but he was so profoundly lost in prayer that he unintentionally completely ignored her. Angered by this neglect, she cursed him. She declared that from that moment on, whatever or whoever he looked at directly would be completely destroyed. This is wild, right? But it brilliantly illustrates an absolutely crucial truth. His infamous Vakra Drishti, or cruel gaze, wasn't born of malice at all. It was an accidental curse. And the kicker? Once he realized what had happened, he repented and permanently lowered his eyes. He looks downward not because he's angry, but out of immense self-control to actively protect the world from his cursed gaze.
All right, Section 2, Asli Swarup, the true form. Okay, we need to completely shatter a massive myth today. He is not this cruel, angry villain who's just waiting to ruin your life. No way. The reality is that he is actually Lord Shiva's appointed Chief Justice. He's the Karma Paladatta, the dispenser of karma, the Nayake Devta. Think about that. Lord Shiva himself appointed Shani as the universal judge to distribute rewards and punishments based strictly on our own actions. He is entirely neutral, impartial, and completely just.
Basically, his strictness is just a flawless mirror, and it's reflecting our own choices right back at us. As the ancient wisdom tells us, do not fear me, fear your own karma. I am justice, and no one can escape justice. The takeaway here? If you do good, he absolutely rewards you with things like longevity, wealth, and fame. But if you have karmic debts, well, he's the one who forces you to clear them up.
Let's jump to Section 3, Puranic Kathayan, the scales of justice. History and mythology are just completely filled with stories proving that literally no one is above his universal law. Take the famous story of Raja Vikramaditya, for example. When asked to rank the 9 planets, the wise king got a bit arrogant and offered Shani Dev a throne made of iron, which was the absolute lowest rank. So what happened next? Shani Dev stripped the king of his massive kingdom. Boom, just like that. For 7.5 years, right during his Sadasati, the king had to live as a commoner. He suffered mutilation, he was forced into hard labor, the whole shebang. But once the king's arrogance was totally shattered and he learned genuine humility, Shani Dev mercifully restored everything he had lost. It's a stark reminder that arrogance will always be humbled.
Now on the flip side of that, we have the incredible story of King Harishchandra. When his Sadasati hit, he too lost his kingdom, his wealth, and was tragically separated from his entire family. He was reduced to this incredibly grim, heartbreaking duty of collecting cremation taxes. And yet, even when his own wife brought their deceased son to the cremation ground, Harishchandra remained completely steadfast in his integrity. He still demanded the required tax. That is intense, right? But King Harishchandra showed us that passing Shani's test requires nothing but unshakable honesty, imandari, during our absolute darkest moments. And of course, once he passed that incredibly harsh test, Shani and the gods restored his life and his glory.
That brings us to Section 4, the divine bond between ShaniDev and Hanumanji.
This is such a fascinating part of the lore. During the epic events of the Ramayana, the mighty King Ravana actually imprisoned Shani in a dark cell. Why? So Ravana could manipulate destiny itself and make his own son invincible. Fast forward a bit, and Hanuman arrives in Lanka searching for goddess Sita. While he's there, he hears Shani's weak cries from the cell, and Hanuman, being who he is, selflessly breaks him free. Shani Dev was just deeply moved and so grateful for this rescue that he made a huge promise. He pledged to soften the karmic blows and lessen the suffering for anyone who sincerely follows Hanuman's path of devotion.
And honestly, this brings us to such a beautiful realization. It shows us that pure faith and just complete selflessness can actually elevate us above those rigid scales of cause and effect. It's like a cosmic loophole. Where there is pure devotion, karma naturally dissolves before Shani even has to act on it.
And finally, Section 5, Jivan Ka Sandesh, the ultimate lesson. So how do we actually apply all of this to our everyday lives? Well, we have to look at what Shani Dev is really punishing. See, we often think he punishes visible sins, the things you can see that end with an act. But the ancient texts reveal something way deeper. Shani Dev's trials are specifically designed to expose and punish asakti, which means attachment. Attachment is hidden, right? It lingers in our thoughts, tying us down to desires, to people, to specific outcomes. Clinging to those desires is actually the true root of our repeated suffering. So Shani's hardships, they basically act as a chisel, just breaking away all our attachments so the soul can finally be free. By adopting these core principles, we can totally align ourselves with his energy. First things first, replace that fear with respect. Practice Atmachintan, that's deep self-reflection. Make a fierce commitment to imandari, meaning honesty, and mehenat, hard work. Try to act in your life without clinging desperately to the results. And honestly, most importantly, serve the needy. Feed the elderly, help out the laborers, because Shani Dev is the ultimate champion of the marginalized. If you do this, you literally turn a dreaded astrological period into this profound, incredible phase of personal growth and spiritual evolution.
I want to leave you with a really powerful question to reflect on today. Are you truly afraid of Shani Dev, or are you just afraid of your own karma? It's a lot to think about, right? Because when we fear the judge, it's usually just because we know the weight of our own actions. He is not a foe, he is a neutral, just teacher who is actively guiding us toward our highest selves. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Keep reflecting, keep putting out that good karma, and I'll catch you in the next one.